What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this POV review by Auto. My name is Max, and today we are taking a look at my very own E55 AMG wagon. This is the S211 generation. This car is from 2004, and as you've seen from the title, I am selling it. This is the last video I'm recording with this car. I've been driving it for, I think, just over 2.5 years now, and have absolutely loved it. I adore this car. I think honestly it's one of the coolest cars we've ever owned. It just blows my mind that in 2004 this is what AMG and Mercedes were building. It was just miles ahead of everyone else, because if you drive an RS6 or an M5 right now, it does not feel as solid as this car. I can promise you that. It's just built so well, and I've enjoyed this car. I've been on holiday with it. It is on winter tires still, as you can see. It comes with Michelin Pilot Sport 5 tires, don't worry. It has been an absolute dream to drive on the Autobahn. We removed the limiter about a year or a year and a half ago, so it does like 300 kilometers an hour on the speedo. It is properly fast. It's so good looking in this silver. I love it. And it has a couple very cool modifications. Well, 3 I think. So one is the fact that it has an E63 bumper, so a facelift bumper, which means you get these little slots there, and the bumper design in general is a little bit more like AMG. It's got the 18-inch 5-spoke AMG wheels, also from an E63, so a facelift wheel. And these mirrors are update versions as well, so you have an indicator in there. And it just gives the car a little bit more of a modern look compared to a stock E55, and I think it works really well. So yeah, why am I selling it? Well, it's basically because I think the car is too nice. It's in such a good condition. It is basically a collector's item. Only 1,444 of these wagons were made, E55 wagons, so it's a super rare car. It is in really good condition. The paint is great. I mean, the wheels are brand new. And I need something that I can abuse a bit more. I just worry a bit too much about the car when it has to be, you know, used as a proper wagon. And my girlfriend uses it for her work as well, so she needs to put a lot of stuff in the rear sometimes, and it hurts me too much to look at it and to see it being used that way. So I try to, you know, don't do that, and that is kind of defeats the purpose of having a wagon, right? I mean, you've got this massive loading bay here. As I've shown you before, you've got some space below for a spare tire, and then this car has basically every option, even the electrically operated loading floor or moving floor. And I always wondered what it was, why this car has that. Well, if you have dogs, it's kind of perfect to let them jump on here, right? Because then they don't scratch the bumper, which is a real problem, because Martijn has that with his M340i. His dogs jump in the back and then they like scratch the bumper. So I guess that's one use for it. And it's just cool to do, right? Every time I show someone this, they're like, what the hell? And then you have an electric roll cover as well. So if you listen, there it goes, closes up automatically. You've got proper space in the rear as well. It's super comfortable for 4 adults. Let's check out the engine. And this is probably my favorite part about this car. The M1 13K 5.4 liter V8 with a supercharger, developing 476 horsepower and 700 newton meters according to Mercedes back in the day. But we had it on the dyno 2 years ago, I think, and it did 500 horsepower or something like that.
Conclusion of today, this is the best one.
Pretty insane, right? This car is now 20 years old and it's still putting out more than they promised back then, which is just outrageous. So these engines are properly built. It's like a heavy duty built engine, and they are bulletproof. They work still after all this time. It just works so well, and it's still such a fast car compared to everything else out there. If I just put the pedal down, it will smoke so much, which is great in an old car like this. And a lot of people think this is a cool car as well. I get so many thumbs up, and yeah, people who absolutely adore the car. That's also pretty cool. Now you can upgrade these engines pretty easily if you go for a supercharger pulley and then improve the cooling. You can easily do like 550 horsepower, and you can go absolutely nuts, go, you know, 600-700 horsepower, but that's not really what I wanted to do. I wanted to keep it original because it is so rare, and I've managed to do that, which is great. Oh, lovely day. So let's get in. I'll show you guys the interior and then we'll head out for a little drive. Cool ashtray there. People were allowed to smoke back then, and we've got heated seats in the rear as well. It really has almost every option available, which is cool. So in here, if you've seen my previous videos of this car, you saw that I had this like AliExpress Android thing in there with like CarPlay and Google Maps and stuff like that. But I didn't really like it. One, it was super laggy, and two, I didn't really like the unoriginal look of it. I have an original Mercedes radio, a period correct one in here, and I like it much better now. It just looks so much cleaner. And then it also means you have the secret storage back, because that didn't work when I had the other unit installed. So this is your like secret stash. As you can see, beautiful wood trim all around the car, and we've got heated seats, ventilated seats at the front. It's so incredible. This car really has it all. It doesn't feel old. I've never driven this car when I was like, I wished I had a more modern car. It just has everything. I mean, okay, like Apple CarPlay would have been nice, but I don't really miss it. So yeah, pretty incredible. These seats are great as well, super supportive, soft leather. Seating position is great. I love it to bits. I really do. Anything else? Oh, cup holder. It's still in one piece. If you've seen the first video, then you know that these tend to break really easily, and I had Martijn in the rear and I was like, oh, he's going to break it. It's still in one piece, which is great. What else? You've got some storage here, and then you have more storage in there. 2 versions, sunroof as well, which is nice. And then you have this old school V8. It's not loud. It sounds like it has a bit of that old school AMG powerboat feel, you know. It has that slight rumble of an SLR. It just sounds like a V8. It sounds so good. So let's go for a little drive and I'll tell you a bit more about my experience. So we're at 118,000 kilometers, and we bought the car I think at like 75 or 80,000. So we've done nearly 40,000 kilometers with it, I think, and that's not bad in 2.5 years. What have I done recently to keep it in this great condition? Brake pads at the front had to be done, and it needed a new alternator. The rear air suspension struts have both been replaced, so it just drives like it did when it came from the factory. It is really, really impressive. Now, as you can see, cruising around, we're doing what, like 1800 RPM right now. It's so quiet and comfortable, like in your daily driving. It is insane. With the air suspension just in comfort mode, it's so impressive. And you always have that little growl from the V8. We have the 5-speed automatic gearbox instead of the 7-speed, which was new back then, but I don't think it was able to handle the torque. So that's, you know, you see that with a lot of AMGs, that the big torque versions, they have an older gearbox because they are just a bit stronger. Now, let's slow down a little bit. We have pedals behind the steering wheel, so let's go for manual mode. And then we don't have a sport mode or anything like that. Well, for the gearbox, but not for the car, which is great. So, first gear. Oh, it's so torquey, and that V8 sound is mighty. Brakes are really good as well. I actually just saw a video, I think it was a Car Wow video, a drag race between the RS6 E55 and the M5 V10, RS6 V10 as well. And braking performance was the best for this one. So performance wise it was beaten by the RS6 of course, but that one is much more powerful. So it's very torquey, that V8, it's very powerful, but you can feel that from like 5000 RPM, it gains like an extra, like an afterburner, because that's when the supercharger really kicks in. Handling wise, I mean, it's a big boat. The steering is pretty indirect. It's more geared towards comfort than like real track performance or anything like that. So back to manual mode we go, because it's nice that you can actually control it a little bit, because otherwise you have to go way too fast. If you do like a kick down, you're just gone. So second gear. Whoa. Honestly, it does not disappoint. If you are used to like modern performance cars, this is still going to be a very fast car. So if you are looking for like an older performance car, or a young timer as we call it in the Netherlands, which is a car that's 15 years or older, which means that it's tax friendly if you have a company. That's why I actually have this car on my holding company, because I drive it privately, and that means that I can just write off all the expenses on my business, which means that you can drive this car here and it's not that expensive, which is just amazing, because it does everything I want a car to do and then some. And well, it has been an absolute honor to own this car, to drive this car, because it is just a legend. It's a living legend. And the fact that there are just 1444 of these makes it so special. And the fact that you can actually drive it, you can drive it hard, you can drive it properly, you can drive it a lot. We've driven it a lot, like on long trips as well, and it just works. It's very reliable, and I don't think that's the case with the RS6 V10 or the M5 V10. So yeah, an absolute beast of a car, and I've loved it so much. So if you want to check out this car on the Autobahn, click in the top right corner. You can check it out over there. We did a top speed run with it, and it did absolutely fantastically. This is it, my last video with the E55. As I said, if you're interested, hit me up, send me a message on Instagram, or send us an email. I'll put the address on screen right now. Please only do so if you are seriously interested. 118,000 kilometers. It's a great car, so if you are the next owner, I envy you, honestly. But I just have to buy something that I can abuse a bit more, and I don't have to worry about hurting it or damaging it, because it's just so nice. So thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed it. You can subscribe by clicking the big button in the middle if you want to watch more. Make sure you're subscribed, because YouTube tends to unsubscribe people automatically, so make sure you're subscribed. Check out this video or this playlist of reviews, and I'll see you at the next video. Thanks guys, bye.